Then I went to number 5.
Rule 5, that's do not do what you hate. And so that's Lucifer plummeting from heaven.
Yeah, that's the one.
And tell me about that.
That's my favorite rule.
That's
okay.
your favorite rule. You mean the favorite illustration or the rule itself? Now, you hadn't read the chapters, I don't believe.
I did.
You did? Okay. So I sent them to you?
Yes.
Okay, well, that was wise. That was appropriate.
Yeah, that was wise. I asked for it, but then I stopped myself from reading on most of them. I didn't want to translate them into words and vice versa.
Okay, so but you had read the chapter for Rule 5.
Yeah, you gave me very clear 3 paragraphs on each rule, and that was more than enough. And you showed pictures. I have it here. We can attach it.
And we went back and forth on this image quite a lot.
On this one, no. The only change here was that the hand was too long. Right,
arm length. Well, that happens to stick in my mind, so that may not be an accurate representation of what happened. So tell me about this image. Again, it has that lovely harmony. You know, the character looks like the figure looks like he's dancing. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So I was inspired by ballet dancer, and I didn't want it to look too much like this because they're similar in description.
Right.
I didn't want him to be all the way down on the ground. I wanted him to be in the middle, and it was very challenging because the emotion is so contradictory to me, and I was trying to catch it in one frame. And the emotion was, he's still falling. He's not there yet. It's quite interesting. He's desperate and angry and hopeful.
It's a great expression.
And he's looking for help.
Yeah, well, and I believe you can see all of those things in the expression. There's a pleading in it.
Yeah, so once I get the face, I would change the face of a person, obviously, unrecognizably for others. And I'll work on the nose, obviously, and I'll work on the eyes. And then I'll change the emotion. I'll actually work on the flaps of the skin to make him more desperate. The darker the area on top of his eye, the more desperate he is. There are ways to work on emotion, to change it slightly. And I'm changing it only on one half of the face. That's my trick. The other half of the face would describe a different emotion.
And so how did you discover that technique?
Okay, actually, there is a filmmaker, first filmmaker. His name is Georges Méliès. He was French. The one who created Moon. What was the name? I have it written down. He created.
What's his name?
He created A Trip to the Moon.
Oh yes, a very early filmmaker.
He was the first. He was the first.
Very famous film.
Yeah. So he has been depicted in Hugo Cabret by Martin Scorsese film.
Right.
Yeah, so there I saw how he created the magic. He wanted a man disappear. So he would take the canister of the film, take the actual film, get to that point, cut out a few frames where the person disappears and glue it together. So, and then I noticed the same idea in music. When I'm listening, let's say, to Sting, he would do exactly the same thing. He will take the emotion that comes to the point of I forgot the word, the musical term. He will cut the other half. He'll take a different emotion, cut off the beginning, glue them together, and that creates a completely different emotion. And in music, nobody's using it unless you're a genius. And why? The reason is because the church would forbid it in the very early stages, because those chords would create doubt and uncertainty. So those chords sound beautiful and slightly bitter and sophisticated. You'll never hear it in music, especially classical music. So I've started to think, how can I recreate it visually? Same thing.